So one, you got to understand the importance of clearing your volunteers. There is such a high cost working with children and not knowing who it is you have watching your children. It is so important that we do our due diligence. And I'm going to give you a couple of different levels of background check options. But I would just say, whether you're a huge church, small church, there's got to be something that you're doing to background check your volunteers, because it just takes one child communicating something wrong. Maybe, I use the example of, let's say you have a volunteer taking a child to the restroom, and the child says, I need toilet paper because they're out. So the volunteer sticks it under the stall, and the child says, oh yeah, the volunteer helped wipe me. Well, that isn't what happened. They just handed the child toilet paper. But the kid can mistakenly express what happened incorrectly. I mean, kids their perspectives are different. And now you have just ruined the name of the volunteer, of your children's ministry, of the church, your pastor, and Jesus Christ. All because of one thing that was miscommunicated. And so getting your volunteers' background check doesn't stop things from happening per se, but it's a covering. It's you have done your due diligence to make sure that everything is taken care of the best of your ability. Then if something does happen, you have covering, you have a protection, because there's so much it costs. And I really stress this to my volunteers when they do sign up, that we have to be so careful of everything we do, because in this day and age, as you know, there's parents who are upset, who maybe are going through a divorce, and the mom needs money and then makes up something. I mean, you don't know. And not only that, predators are targeting churches because we all think we're all safe. Well, we're a church, so it's all safe. Well, predators know that. And so they target churches. And so we just have to, not to breed fear, but to be wise. We need to be wise about what we're doing and covering our children. So what are the options? Like I say, there's all different levels, and based on your church size, budget, all of that, you're going to have to see what fits best with your church. But there's backgroundchecks.com. First of all, if you use Google background checks, it's going to give you a list of companies that do those things. But there's backgroundchecks.com. Now, the first few options I'm giving you, it's not fingerprinting. It's just running someone's social security number and their name to do a background check. And what it does is it basically takes a snapshot of their record. So if they were to go break the law a week later, you wouldn't know, unless it was on the news. You wouldn't know. But it does take a snapshot of their background so that you know who you're bringing into the ministry. So there's backgroundchecks.com. It's $29.99 for the first, if you just do one background check, but then if you do multiple at one time, it'll give you bundle discounts. There's protectmyministry.com. That's currently what I am using. It's $10 per transaction. Once again, this just takes a snapshot of your person, but at least you have that. At least you've got that. There's Group, does Shepherd's Watch, and that is actually it's a little different. Give me a second, I have the details right here. So it offers, starting at Group's Shepherd's Watch, starts at $12 for the basic, which includes ID verification, criminal record search, sex offenders registry search. It's $26 for those things with a DMV record background check or a county court record check, and then it's $39 to do all the criteria that I just read, to cover all of it. So the most it would be is $39 a person. And so like I say, what we do is every 3 years, where I'm at right now, every 3 years, we rerun the background check. So it's not like once they're ran, they're done, that's it. But we rerun it every 3 years just to have that current, background on them. Then there's fingerprinting. I've also done this. So fingerprinting, I know about Biometrics for All, is a company that will you can make your church become a fingerprinting station. So actually anybody in the city could come and get fingerprints at your church, but you don't usually use it for that. But it does make that. So what that means, though, is you have to purchase the equipment to roll fingerprints. You need to become a fingerprint roller, and then you need to pay for the company that then does the background check and then brings you the information. It's a couple $1,000s to get that started, but once you get it started, it's much cheaper to then just roll fingerprints and check on them. And this honestly is the best way to do it if you can, because it's not just a snapshot, it's an ongoing notification. So if I fingerprint someone and they're clear and a week later they rob a bank, I'll be notified and I'll know about it. So it is the best way, but based on, I know budgets sometimes don't allow for that. I just still recommend that you do something to clear your volunteers. And then, of course, like the woman talked about earlier, the volunteer handbook and training. Every time I have a volunteer want to serve, they meet with me and I go over a handbook. And it talks about what to do in fire, or, earthquake, or, taking kids to the bathroom, getting background checked. It covers everything and anything that could possibly happen so that they fully know what to do in every situation and what the expectation is. And so that's always good too. Thank you.